Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-Salakaya Chakshurunnilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Ramayan Dadati Swapadāntikam. Vandeham Shri Gurava Srimata-Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Visantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatsapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sattakancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we welcome all of you for the 6th day of the Ramayan Katha. The erosion of our Vedic tradition, Vedic culture through various sources of media, including entertainment media, print media, academics, universities, is massive. And interestingly, we don't have our own research department for our own system or our own study. Just like you have so many medical laboratories for blood testing. So each laboratory may have its own report. Some reports can be faulty. Like in criminal cases, they take an alternative opinion from someone else because an alternative exists. There are authors who are commenting on all the Vedic literature, primarily Ramayan, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, and the principal Upanishads. And a lot of study is being done in the Western countries. And what is interesting is, there are people speaking for our literature who are Westerners, but their for means the criteria on which they agree, that is also misconstrued. Okay, in essence they may be agreeing, but they rob away the main principle. For example, they may support Ram or Sita or Krishna, but they may give a totally outrageous understanding of the whole thing. And there are people who speak against. So one person was telling, this is recently, just hardly 2 months ago, we had a meeting with all some scholars in Mumbai. So he was telling that what is the it is not right that all the Western people are only speaking wrong about our literature. There are people who also give the right. So the point which was mentioned was that if we don't have our own study and our own analysis on our own scripture, in our own way, then somebody else will do the research for you. This is ridiculous. Means, if I don't have a judgment of my own community, say Thana community, Radha Gopinath community, also Thana city or India, so I should have my own department of analyzing this country's wealth, this country's culture, this country's needs, this country's crime rates or whatever. If I am totally dependent on what other universities are telling, some may tell good or some may tell bad, but I am actually vulnerable because I am in the hands of outsiders. So this should never happen actually. So we cannot ignore this very important fact that most of our literatures are not being studied by our own people. And this is one of the prime reasons that there is no alternative opinion existing. That when we are confronted by many misleading statements of our scriptures, we just simply have a sentiment, अरे ये थोड़ा कुछ गलत लग रहा है, सही नहीं लग रहा है, but we don't have an argument for it. Like one author which Prabhu was just mentioning, so I just remember Wendy Donegan. One of her books, The Hindus, was called that by Penguin just recently. So she has written another book called Hindus and Alternative History. And what she does is essentially she takes all the scriptures, primary scriptures, and ridicules them in different ways. Alternative history. Matlab, I am not presenting Vyas's conclusion. Alternative history वो नाम के साथ ही समझ में आ गया कि वो एक परंपरा नहीं है. तो देखिए वो किस प्रकार से रामायण को कैटेगराइज करते. Last year we were hearing that how the Ramayan was composed. The Anushtupa Chanda, which comes in the Rama Raksha, Anushtupa Chanda. Chanda is a meter. So in any poetry when you are composing, there is a pattern in which that poem, that prose is written. So like Gita is written in certain Chanda, Bhagavatam is written in different ways. So therefore when there are bigger shlokas we chant in different ways, smaller shlokas we have different ways. So meters are different based on the number of syllables. So Anushtupa Chanda, this was a Chanda in which the whole Ramayana is composed. So Valmiki got this. Valmiki was actually thinking on how to write the Ramayana. He knows the entire story, but which passion to write, how to write this poetry, all these verses. So what had happened was, he saw two birds mating. And while mating, he saw a hunter. He actually shot at the bird. And the birds were mating. And therefore when Valmiki saw, he actually cursed this hunter. That how can you commit such a gross violence when two people are engaged in an act of affection or passion? So at that time one should not disturb. And Valmiki immediately cursed. And he cursed in a poetic fashion. He composed the words. And that suddenly he thought about it, that why did this kind of curse? Okay, I cursed that time, but why did this pattern of curse come? And then he realized, it dawned upon him that I should compose the Ramayana in this particular meter. The curse was not most important. Through the curse the meter was removed. This is how Valmiki Ramayana explains. So she writes, Valmiki, the Ramayana, the theme of Ramayana is mentioned in the first verse of the very pattern in which the meter was composed. It talks about violence upon animals. Valmiki Ramayana is about violence upon animals, and you can see how animals are exploited in the Indian tradition. It is about unnatural ways of sexual habits. Then it is about When Valmiki curses the hunter, he curses that you are such a low class person. It is about categorizing people that you are low class and high class. And this is how she gives the summary of Rama. Violation of dharma, compassion towards animals, attitude towards rivals, and the burning of the Agni Pariksha of Mother Sita, that's how the whole Sati system and all. So this is, she defines Ramayana as such a literature. So immediately when a person who has never read the authentic version, his first exposure, he got the lens, मतलब आपको चश्मा पहना दिया है, इस तरह से ही आपको देखना है. तो जब आप पढ़ते रहोगे तो आप उसी दृष्टिकोण से देखोगे, अरे देखो इधर इस जानवर को मारा, बराबर. अरे देखो सेक्सुअल अननेचुरल सेक्सुअलिटी, अरे दशरथ के 300 दिन की पत्नी यार तो कैकेयी के साथ क्या कैकेयी कितने कंट्रोलर है. देन सीता के साथ ऐसा किया, एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ वुमेन एंड सो ऑन. एंड देयर आर सो मेनी ग्रॉस. The whole summary of Ramayana is written with such kind of words: exploitation, sexual habits, perversion, and so many such words. When such words come in the description, so that your mind is bombarded constantly with such a literature. And contrastingly, imagine that the whole literature of Ramayana is about Maryada Purushottam. मतलब ये कुछ है ही नहीं. अगर कोई कृष्ण के बारे में ऐसा बोले तो चलो शायद कोई बोल भी सके, लेकिन होगा मैं इसकी तो बोल रहा हूँ. In fact, I don't know where I was speaking. Even in Krishna's pastime, when Krishna married all the women, there is not one wife of Krishna whom Krishna married out of his own choice because I just like her. 16,108 queens, none of them were married like that. Majority of them were abducted and Krishna gave shelter, and the 8 principles were the queens who actually requested, please stay with my brother is married here, I am getting married here, I want to marry you, I love you, I have been born for just to have you as my husband, like that. In none of the 16,108 queens, Krishna had first seen her and thought that, oh, बहुत अच्छे है, मेरे को ऐसा करना चाहिए. So even if somebody wants to raise an objection on Krishna's character, it is so difficult because he has given shelter. He has given his affairs, his loving relations were with the gopis. But his 116 down, none of them were an act of even perversion or aggression. So it's so very important that we keep reading. When we were young, at least there was some version of Ramayana which was going on. Now it is so much important these days to actually read the version, because next 10-15 years it won't even exist, the kind of articles which are being written. Unless some proper king comes into power, then this knowledge cannot be protected. So I would like to move ahead from where we had stopped day before yesterday. Anybody remember? Yeah, we finished the keywords, and Ram had told Guha that after 14 years I will come back to this very road and I will meet you. And he told that love is tested in separation. So we proceed from that. So Ram, he tells Guha to go back, and he proceeds with Lakshmana and Sita in the forest. So still the forest has not yet come, but the outskirts of Ayodhya has just begun. Mother Sita immediately asked Ram, has the forest come? Now it is hardly few hours that they have left Ayodhya. Because Sita has never seen a forest in her entire life. It is explained that she has never had, the sun had never seen Sita directly. उजाला तो देखा, लेकिन सूरज ने अभी सीता को डायरेक्टली नहीं देखा. The ground had never felt the feet of Sita. So her experience of the forest was, if you go outside the walls of the kingdom, ये जंगल. And when Ram heard, अभी तक तो हम इतनी सुंदर गंगा के तट पर हैं, अभी तक तो कहवट और ये सब लोग मिल रहे हैं, सब कुछ अच्छा है, इतने लोग हैं, हरियाली है, सब कुछ है, ब्यूटीफुल एनिमल, सब कुछ पैरट्स एंड काउज एंड हॉर्सेस दिख रहे, अभी तक लायन टाइगर एलिफेंट नहीं है. और सीता बोल रहे कि अच्छा यही फॉरेस्ट है क्या, फॉरेस्ट आ गया. तो राम इज टेकिंग इन हिज हार्ट, his heart is overwhelmed with that love and compassion. My God, my dear wife, she has no idea what a forest is. And now she has committed to stay for 14 years. She thinks this is a forest. The harshest part is yet to come. So it's already evening, so they rest under a huge tree. Lakshman prepares a nice bed. So Ram, Sita and Lakshman, they just lie down. Ram suddenly wakes up and he starts speaking to Lakshman. He analyzes the situation of Ayodhya in 3 different ways. The first way, he is analyzing philosophically. He thinks, my dear Lakshman, I am so disturbed. I cannot imagine that such a pious and virtuous king such as Dashrath, such a noble person, how could he actually fall trap to the whims of a queen? I cannot believe that his mind was so much filled with lust. He is analyzing the principle of bhog and pyar. Dashrath is suffering, but what is the cause of his suffering? The cause of his suffering is because of indulgence. Bhog. This is the principle. When you have so much of bhog, or you have excessive bhog of anything, naturally it will cause great amount of distress. There will be a forced pyar on which will exist. One is voluntarily you feel detached, and one is you feel disgusted by it. So here, Dashrath is experiencing this principle of pyar, that he has let go, he is now detached, forcibly detached from his son. But what was the reason? The reason was just because he neglected virtue. So Ram is telling Lakshman that Dashrath has neglected the virtue so much so that he gave priority to sense gratification. Now this is interesting. The first time Ram is actually indirectly or whatever we can say, he is actually blaming Dashrath. It appears to be a blame, but he is not blaming, he is analyzing. क्या वो मजबूरी होगी कि इतनी रानियां थी लेकिन वे रानी के खूबसूरती के वश में आकर के उन्होंने इतना बड़ा डिसीजन ले लिया. एंड दिस इज व्हाट इज द पावर ऑफ दिस इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ दिस वाइसेस, दैट ही इज सो फैसिनेटेड विद अ वुमन दैट ही लेट गो ऑफ हिज डियरमोस्ट सन एंड ही स्टिल सफरिंग. क्या वो नशा होगा, क्या वो भोग होगा कि वो करने की वजह से आपको इतना कष्ट पहुंच रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी आप उसी के वश में आप डिसीजन ले रहे हैं. Still under the control of KK he has to take, for whose sake he has abandoned me. And then Ram is thinking, he is very disturbed. He is thinking, is sense gratification so attractive? Maybe sense gratification is more attractive than this religious merit and religious virtue. If you function in a religious way, you eventually inherit the earth. That was the entire Ragupul. Right from Ikshvaku, everybody was the ruler of the earth. And they were the ruler of the earth because of their virtuous qualities. Not because of their sheer power, because of their virtues. Those were very strong. So he is thinking that just is self gratification so attractive that Dashrath has let go of the rule over the entire world, and he has let go of all the religious merits. Maybe sense gratification is very attractive. So Ram is confused. His mind is going back and forth. And then suddenly he blames Dashrath that he has lost all sanity because of attachment to one woman. Then he is analyzing. It is possible that now Kaushalya and Sumitra alone, they are not under the shelter of me, or Lakshman is also not there. And Dashrath is under the control of the thumb of Kaikeyi. So it is possible that Kaikeyi will get Kaushalya and Sumitra executed. That is my worry. If she does not get them killed, through the ministers, she will have them poisoned. So this is my advice. And he tells to Lakshman, you please go back to Ayodhya, this is my request. I agree that Kausalya must have done something wrong in her past life, that she is also being deprived of her own son. The karma theory is again and again spoken in Ramayan, because it's Maryada literature. They say maybe Kausalya must have deprived someone else from his son, from her son, and therefore she is suffering. That's immaterial now, but this life she has been sinless. Whatever the situation is. What I feel personally, as a son, I cannot repay the duties towards my mother. She is now helpless. Her husband is not supporting. Nobody is there for her. And I am also not there. And Ram starts cursing himself. He says, nobody in this world should ever get a son like me who gives up his own mother. And Ram starts crying piteously with his hands over his face, his entire face is wet with the tears. And he tells Lakshman, please go back, please go back. Lakshman falls at the feet of Ram and says, my dear Lord, it is not possible for me to survive a few hours without you. How can you tell me to go back and stay 14 years? It is not possible. I will die. If you want, I can make a try, but I will definitely die. I cannot survive. Mother Kausalya will be taken care of. And whatever has to happen, if you are saying something is part of the destiny, let destiny take care. Nothing will happen. We will soon go, and after 14 years we will have the darshan and the blessings of Mother Kausalya. So this is how Lakshman convinces Lord Ram. And Lord Ram agrees. So then they rest for a day and they start moving. And they approach, and they arrive at one ashram, which was the ashram of Bharadwaj Muni. So when Bharadwaj receives Lord Ram, he is very delighted. But he has already heard about the unfortunate proceedings which have happened. So Bharadwaj tells Lord Ram that you please stay here. I have made all the arrangements. I have a nice hermitage, and the place which we are staying, there is a Ganga is nearby, there are fruits and plants and all other things, and I have so many disciples. They will cook food for you and everything will be taken care. So Lord Ram smiles, he agrees. He acknowledges his offering. But Lord Ram says that this is not for which I have taken one horse for 14 years. And he says, the problem of your hermitage, your location is very close to Ayodhya. And people will keep coming and meeting. And that will disturb my mother's heritage. And therefore I cannot stay here. So you please guide me that I have to go to the Ganga forest. But where should I exactly go? I don't know. So Bharadwaj says the only holy place which I know nearby, although there are a lot of lions, tigers, monkeys, elephants, it's a very holy place. That holy place are the hills of Chitrakoot, which is just some 60 miles from here. Now, currently Chitrakoot is something around 120 kilometers, 78 miles. So those days, whatever the calculation was, 68 miles, 60 miles is the calculation. So just from here, Chitrakoot is just 60 miles. So Lord Ram, Sita, so this hermit, this place of Bharadwaj Muni was at the junction of Ganga and Yamuna river, because the Prayag concept. So they had to now cross the Yamuna river. So Lakshman, he brings some logs of wood, and it is explained with all those twigs and all those forest things with bamboos and logs of wood, they make a very nice raft. And with beautiful some of the very fragrant twigs and leaves, they actually cover the raft. And they make a very nice seat for Mother Sita, which is very soft. And Lakshman has Sita seated, and Ram and Lakshman and Sita, they sit on a raft. Now raft मतलब अभी ये हमारा राफ्टिंग जैसा राफ्ट नहीं है जिसमें रस्सी है और फ्लोट है, जो just a piece of wood like that. So Ram and Lakshman are with the forest sticks there, they row the raft, and Mother Sita offers her prayers to Yamuna, and they cross the river very nicely. And it is explained that just after crossing that river, then they walk for some time and they reach the ashram of the great Muni, Valmiki. and they enter his ashram at Chitrakoot. So this is the first time where Valmiki is receiving all the things together. So Valmiki receives them. Meanwhile, what has happened there at Guha's place? Sumantra, he was just stationed at Guha's place on this side of the river. 3 days ago we were discussing that Lord Ram told Sumantra the moment he met Guha that he go back to Ayodhya, and he crossed the river with Guha. So Guha, when he came back, he saw that Sumantra is still here. So Guha told that I have heard that Lord Ram has safely reached, because Guha has his 5 sense. So they gave a news that Lord Ram has safely reached, so Guha came back. And Sumantra stayed there for a couple of days. And in exchange, Sumantra stayed there for 3 days. Why? Because Sumantra was thinking that there is a chance that Ram will feel that maybe I should go back. Maybe for not his sake, but for the sake of Sita. So मैं थोड़ा दिन रुकता हूँ, शायद वापिस आ जाएगा. So when he sees Guha has come back and Guha tells that everything is fine and has proceeded, he is very sad and he goes for Ayodhya. And it is explained that when Sumantra enters Ayodhya, all he sees is there is deafening silence. कोई चहल पहल नहीं. And the moment people see Sumantra entering, as we were discussing, why Sumantra did not want to leave Ram? Because he was thinking, if I go to Ayodhya without you on my chariot, people will die. They were crying and shouting so much just while I was taking over. When they see me without you, how will they survive? And when the chariot comes, somehow somebody sees from far that Sumantra is entering Ayodhya, and that lady screams loudly. बिना राम के बस खाली रहता आ रहा. वो देखते देखते अचानक सभी बाहर आ जाते हैं. People get that sense that it must be Sumantra only. Still they have this hope that there is a chance that maybe Ram has come back, maybe Lakshman has come back, maybe Sita has come back. And all the ladies start they come out of their homes and there is this wailing and screaming and shouting. Hi, क्या हो गया ऐसे करके? And Sumantra is unable to actually even drive the chariot. He is trembling in fear, he is trembling in distress. He is thinking that how will I even approach Dashrath in such a situation? So everywhere where he is going, he hears whispers all around. But now what will Sumantra speak to Dashrath? What will he say to Kaikeyi? What क्या होगा? And this is also putting Sumantra's heart on fire. So Sumantra comes and meets the king, and he exactly delivers the message as Ram had told him, that this is what we should tell to the king. So he said, my dear king, I have come not with Ram but with the message of Ram. And when Dashrath just sees Sumantra without Ram, Dashrath immediately falls on God. He is unable to bear that burden that Ram has actually now officially gone. क्योंकि जब वो निकले थे तो अचानक वो इतना पॉलिटिक्स और राजनीति था. समटाइम द ट्रेजेडी टेक्स a while to settle in your culture. When you suddenly hear about a tragedy, it takes a while. After 3-4 days you realize, my God. So now everybody is realizing. So Dashrath falls unconscious and is unable to speak. So Kaushalya comes and brings Dashrath back to consciousness and says, my dear king, you are supposed to be the scion of this Raghu dynasty. If you fall unconscious, if you as a king don't receive the news properly, पूरे शहर में क्या बात चलेगी? If the king is being weak, how can you receive your own person, Sumantra, with such a news, with such a face? Please stand up and ask him what is the news. So Dashrath gathers all his courage and he says, my dear Sumantra, please give me the message of Lord Ram. I am so worried. Where would Ram be staying? Where will he stay? What he will eat? What will Sita eat? How will he sleep? I am so worried about them. There are animals, cobras, snakes, And you never know, there are some kind of pillars and people also there, the shadows of the jungle. Who is going to take care of their security? What did Ram, Lakshman and Sita say? How is their feeling? How did they approach this entire tragedy? So Sumantra says, Ram told me that I should salute your feet. I should always be very respectful towards your feet. I should have no contempt towards you for whatever decision you have taken. And for that matter, we have told that Kaushalya should serve you as a deity, not just like a husband. That is the request of Lord Ram. Lord Ram has told me that I should treat all mothers equally, because he was fearing that maybe Kaikeyi has done like this, so I might treat her, because Sumantra had chastised Kaikeyi. For those who have been coming every day, Sumantra has chastised me. So Ram ordered me that I should treat all mothers with equal respect. So Bharat has given this instruction to treat all mothers justly and serve the father. Although Dashrath is old, he has given this message for Bharat, that do not dethrone the king just because he is old and just because your mother has ordered that you should be the king. As long as Dashrath is alive, please let him be the king. Meanwhile, you may be installed as the next regent prince. There is no issue with it. आपका राज्याभिषेक जैसा हो जाने दो, लेकिन you be a proxy ruler. Let Dashrath be on the throne. Don't please agitate him. He is already so agitated. His heart knows nothing but me. His heart is getting no solace. Don't further cause any conflict on him. And saying that, Sumantra started crying. He said Ram was constantly crying again and again while giving all these instructions. Hearing this, Dashrath starts crying. And Dashrath sinks on the floor. Sumantra continues. Lakshman was very furious. In anger, Lakshman was telling, what offense did Ram do? What crime did Ram commit? Whether it is providence in the भले ये तकदीर में लिखा है राम के या आपके तकदीर में, या आप उसको एक वचन का नाम दे दो कि मैंने वचन नहीं किया था कहीं कहीं को, ये वचन हो या इट इज प्रोविडेंस, आई एम नॉट कंसर्न फॉर इट. Whether it is right or wrong, I am not concerned. Whether you have to give a gift to Kaikeyi or it is out of your own greed, I am not concerned. All I am concerned is this thing is totally unfair. This decision is unfair. Ram does not deserve such treatment. So Dashrath is still crying. Kaushalya does not know what to speak. They are expecting what this Sita speaks. So Sumantra says Sita was just standing motionless. She could not speak anything. All she was doing was she was just simply crying, seeing this condition of her husband. Generally men are very strong externally. So they don't cry as much as women. But when men break down, that's a very sad situation. When a man starts crying like a small child, that's a very sad thing. So he explained, Mother Sita could not stand seeing the most powerful king of the universe crying like a small child. Although he is most famous, although he is most powerful and he can any day take the throne away from anyone. So Sumantra starts crying and he loses sense of what he should speak or not speak. And he starts telling, actually Ram, Lakshman and Sita, when they crossed the Ganga, they proceeded to the forest. They did not allow me to go further. And they told me to come back. I wanted to come back then and there, but my horses were not ready to leave. And my horses did not live for so many days. And they did not move. And the horses were simply crying. And therefore, I stayed at the place of Guha for 3 days. That meanwhile the horses are crying, maybe it is possible that Lord Ram will come at least for the sake of the horses. And Sumantra is crying. And he is telling, my dear king, you have not come out of your palace ever since Ram has gone. It's just 4 days Ram has gone actually. But when I came, the whole of Ayodhya is silent. And when I came, everybody was simply crying. This is the scene outside of your room. Nobody greeted me. This is the first time in my life that I being the charioteer, the minister of the king, and no one in Ayodhya has greeted me. So Dashrath is saying, it is my blunder, it is my blunder. I did not deliberate with my ministers, I did not deliberate with my counselors. मैंने किसी भी व्यक्ति को नहीं पूछा, न भरद्वाज को पूछा, न वशिष्ठ को पूछा, हमारे जो राज्य के जो मुनि थे, किसी को मैंने कुछ पूछा नहीं. Just out of my absolute helplessness, because of being attached to this woman, I relented to this decision. And then he says, please take me to Ram. If I have done one good thing for you in my entire life, please take me to Ram right away. And I won't be able to survive even for an hour more. And seeing this, Dashrath falls unconscious. Seeing that, Kaushalya cannot see this. And Kaushalya, she says, take me to Ram, else I will also die. And Sumantra, seeing both of them, one is already unconscious and his body is shivering and Kaushalya is crying. Sumantra speaks what Ram had told, that this is what you should tell to Kaushalya. He says, actually Ram, Lakshmana and Sita are doing well. And what was the problem with Sumantra? He told that if I say that you are not well, that is going to cause a problem. And if I say everything is fine, nobody is going to believe that. Since Sumantra says Ram, Lakshmana and Sita are all fine, they have got a good, just see what a painful description. They are staying under a nice tree. There are nice fruits. There is a nice river nearby. There are nice trees. They make nice bed of leaves. There is nothing nice in this nicest description you can make of a forest. So Sumatra explains all this. And he is also crying. Kaushalya speaks. Suddenly, Kaushalya gets angry with Dashrath. He says, Dashrath, although was the most compassionate king, and he has been compassionate to all the animals and human beings, but he did not think even once when he let Ram, Lakshmana and Sita go. He never even thought that how they will survive in this forest. Ram, although he is strong, and he could have reversed this entire decision, he still accepted it. And Kaushalya starts saying, the main support, the primary support of a woman for a woman is the husband. Then the next support is the son. And the third support is the sibling, if they have a brother or sister. For me, Dashrath, you have ruined me. You have never been support to me as a husband. And you also sent my son away. And I am all alone. My entire life I have suffered. Now I cannot go to the forest in such a condition because of my age and so many other limitations. And now you want to go to the forest to meet Ram and you want to leave me here at this situation. Sarvata ha hata toya, you have absolutely ruined me and my entire life, Dashrath. And when Kaushalya speaks this, Dashrath cannot, first time in his life he has heard his Kaushalya speaking like that. And Dashrath, he starts, although he's totally shattered, he could not take this way. He says, my dear Kaushalya, you have been such a pious and virtuous lady. There has never been a harsh word by you in your entire life. Even if I as a husband have failed you, isn't it the duty of a pious lady like you to at least support me in such a time of distress? My providence, my own weakness has been so harsh upon me. Why do you speak such harsh words to me? It is a quarrel. An unfortunate quarrel. Kaushalya suddenly realizes that she lost her mind. She says, I am ruined now completely. You ruined me first, but now by saying that you ruined me, when I say this to you, I have ruined myself absolutely by criticizing my own virtuous husband. And the whole scene is so grave. Sumitra is nearby, she is crying, Kaushalya is crying, Dashrath is crying, Sumantra is crying, they don't know what to say. Dashrath falls, he collapses and falls at the feet of Kaushalya and with folded palms he says, please forgive me. Sumantra just does not know what to do and he just leaves that place. So Dasharatha is crying, Kaushalya is by his side and just nearby Sumitra, and it's already late night. And in such a situation, after crying for hours and hours, they got so exhausted that Dasharatha kind of fell asleep. Suddenly Dasharatha woke up. And he told, I am just suffering because of one misdeed which I did. And Kaushalya is crying, he says, what misdeed did you do? कहना अभी और क्या करना है? अभी तक तुम अपने कर्मों का एनालिसिस कर रहे हो, हमारा सब कुछ बिगड़ गया. और ये होता है ना कि सब कुछ बहुत बिगड़ जाता है और हम फिलोसॉफी की बातें करते हैं. So it's the time before I was even married. I was just a young prince. At that time I had just recently learned the skills of archery. And I was very good at it. And I was very intoxicated with this habit of hunting. And it says one night, one evening, just after the summer season, the next season comes is rain. So the first monsoon had just come. And the climate was so excellent that I felt the whole chivalrous feeling of hunting. And it was raining. At that time I entered the forest. I could barely see anything because of the heavy rain. The streams were gushing, the first rain, the leaves were falling and dirt and so many other things. And in such a situation, it became very dark. And at that time I had just recently learned that art of shooting, of spotting an enemy just by sound, not by sight. And when I saw this when I heard from a distance a typical animal, I thought that I had to experiment that knowledge which I had learned. And although I knew that this is not the right time for hunting, because it was dark, it was raining, this is not the right time. Because I did not even hear the sounds properly. So I heard a sound of one of the persons, of somebody, as if dipping a pitcher in the nearby lake. And the river was Sharai, and the Sharai. When I heard that sound, it also seemed to me as if some elephant was trying to drink some water from its trunk. Although in my heart I knew that this is an inauspicious time even to do this hunting, I should not do. I took up my arrow, and with a special arrow which is of the shape of a snake, I shot it in the direction of that sound. And the moment I shot it, I heard a loud crying of a man and falling down. So I immediately rushed to that spot, and I was shocked that he was an ascetic. A boy who was clad in his robes of an ascetic with matted hair, and he just had a small pitcher in his hand. And I had shot his vital organs. Vital organs means somewhere near the chest, near the heart. So when I saw him, I was shocked, and the pitcher was all, the pitcher fell down, and it was all blood everywhere. So I just got so shocked, I approached him, and this man started telling that who could be that person who has shot me some arrow? Maybe in some life I may have done something wrong. That is fine, but how could I be an enemy of anyone that he shot me in such a way? So I am not upset with the loss of my body, but who could that enemy be? And suddenly Dasharatha appeared, and he paused at the feet of this man. He said, it is my mistake. I just thought of you as an animal and I just shot it from the wild. So he said, I am not concerned about my death, my loss of body. My two parents, my mother and father, they are actually blind and helpless. And they were just simply waiting for me for the want of water. What you have done, Dasharatha, you just shot one arrow, but you have killed three of us. Now all three of us are destroyed. Those poor people, they must be expecting me. I must tell you, Dasharatha, please go to them, because if you don't go to them, my father will destroy you by just his curses, because they were great brahmanas, tapasvis. So Dashrath, he saw that boy and he saw that the arrow had been shot and this boy was crying. So Dashrath analyzed, if I let the arrow remain in his heart, it will cause him even more pain. But if I remove the arrow, he will die immediately. So the only choice I have is that he lives for some time more but in pain till he dies, or I remove the arrow and he dies immediately. That was the only choice Dashrath had. So what Dashrath did was to relieve him from the further pain, because all because he would have been more painful till he died. He just removed the arrow and all the vital organs, all the blood flew outside and all the blood flowed outside and he died. So Dashrath, in great grief and distress, he took the pitcher of water, the jar of water, and went to that place where he had told. When he entered that hermitage, he heard just from outside that the husband and wife were discussing. It has been a long time our son has not come. So the wife was saying, no, don't worry, he is very virtuous. Dharma itself will protect him. Husband is saying, nobody, so much raining, it's dark outside, anything could have happened, some animals could have attacked, or what has happened, I don't know. It was the river is flowing because of the heavy rain. So the mother is saying, no, everything must be fine, don't worry. And suddenly when Dashrath hears all this, he is taken aback that they are expecting. And the mother is telling to the husband that our son is so virtuous. Don't you see that although we are so blind and helpless, what a son God has given us. He will come out very soon. So Dashrath immediately is approaching, and hearing the steps of Dashrath, the father and mother immediately they start they say, oh, our son, you have come, your son, you have come. And Dashrath does not know what to say. Dashrath just comes, close and hands over the water, the jar. He is still not speaking. The father says, my dear son, why are you not speaking? Why did it happen so long? Sometimes it happens because they are blind and they are old. He has to do all the duties for them. So therefore sometimes the parents will chastise. So the fathers are maybe they have speak something harsh to you that you are so upset that you don't want to talk to them today. But look at your pious mother. She has been just so kind to you all the time. At least speak. So Dashrath is confused what to do. So Dashrath speaks that actually I am Dashrath, I am not your son. And unfortunately, I was just here on hunting. I am a Kshatriya actually. And what had happened was I thought that there was an elephant who was drinking water, but it was your son who was taking water. And I shot your son with the arrow. When the father hears this, he breaks down. Because he is both blind and helpless. So he tells Dashrath that just because you have confessed this crime, I will spare your dynasty and your entire race. Otherwise you would have been destroyed into thousands and thousands of pieces right now. He says, but because of what you have done, I curse you that you will die with the same pain, the pain of separation from your son. That will be the cause of your death. And while saying this, Dashrath tells to Kaushalya, this is the reason why I am suffering, this is the reason why I am suffering. And then he tells Kaushalya, please touch me, because I cannot feel you no longer. And Kaushalya holds Dashrath, but Dashrath cannot feel. He says, I cannot see you, I cannot hear you, I am not feeling any sensation. I don't think I am going to survive. And Dashrath starts crying, Kaushalya starts crying, and Dashrath lies down. And in that pain, Dashrath leaves his body, while he is explaining the story of him killing that body. Kaushalya does not realize that Dashrath just left. She feels that he is just fallen unconscious, and she is also so exhausted. She also closes her eyes. So suddenly it's morning time, and all the people come, and it's so late, Dashrath does not come out of the courtyard. out of his room. So with lot of prayers and symbols and other ways of how to wake up the king, they try to wake up Dashrath, but Dashrath does not wake up. And the other queens, the 300 other queens, they come nearby and they see, they touch Dashrath and they see that Dashrath is totally dead. He's motionless. So all of them start crying. Meanwhile, Kaushalya was so exhausted and semi-unconscious. She and Sumitra were still sleeping next to the dead body of Dashrath the entire night, not knowing that the final words of Dashrath were the remembrance of his message. And crying, my dear son Ram, I let you go. Ram, I let you go. Ram, I let you go. So suddenly when they see these hundreds of queens crying, Kaushalya wakes up. Sumitra wakes up, and it is explained that they actually fall on the ground bouncing. So suddenly they wake up and they realize Dashrath is gone and they fall. Because just 3 days ago Ram has gone and now Dashrath has also left. So everybody is crying and the whole news spreads to Ayodhya. Vasishtha and all other rishis, Markandeya, Jabali, Gautam, they all come from nearby places immediately because Dashrath was a very great king. Vasishtha says, without the king, the kingdom cannot survive and it's a very inauspicious thing. So we should immediately, before we do anything else, we should immediately declare somebody as the prince. And Dashrath has already told Bharat to be the prince. So Bharat and Shatrugna are at Kaikeya, the kingdom. So somebody should go and bring them. So immediately they send a messenger. At Kaikeya, Bharat has a dream that night. So in the morning he is very gloomy. All his friends and other relatives they are telling, Bharat, why are you appearing so sad? He said, yesterday night I had a dream that my father Dashrath was on the tip of a mountain and from there he jumped. And his hair were all scattered. And I got this dream that the moon has fallen on the earth. I got this dream that all the trees are uprooted and there is no civilization left anywhere. I got this dream that animals are crying tears of blood. So I feel some sense of inauspiciousness. And Bharat speaks this, I feel that maybe today either me, Lakshman, Ram or Dashrath, any 4 of us, any one of us among the 4 is going to die. This is the feeling I have in my head. And at that moment the messenger comes from Ayodhya. So the messenger is told by Vasishtha not to tell Bharat what has happened because they don't want to create more panic. So the messenger comes and tells Bharat that the king has called for a very important message to you. So immediately please come. So he is worried, is there something wrong? He says, no, there is nothing, everything is fine. Dashrath has conveyed your greeting, Ram has conveyed greetings to you, Kaushalya has conveyed greetings, Kaikeyi has conveyed to you, and everybody is eagerly waiting and everything is fine. You please come as soon as possible. So Bharat mounts a chariot and to approach Ayodhya. So tomorrow we will discuss how Bharat, when he sees what is happening in Ayodhya, what are his reactions, and most interesting discussion of how Bharat deals with his own mother after he comes to know that he is gone. Jai Shri Ramchandra Bhagwan ki. Any questions or comments? So he gave the boons to Kaikeyi, but the boon could be fulfilled in a different way also. One thing is the boon given to Kaikeyi on personal grounds, and one thing is to put the whole kingdom at stake because of your own personal boon. similar kind of a mistake of Bhishma, that he put the whole kingdom of stake just for a boon for the father. So there was a whole. He was so much fascinated with Kaikeyi. First of all, Kaikeyi participated in that war. Which took place. A woman never goes to the war. He was so fascinated with Kaikeyi that he used to be always with Kaikeyi. It was just an act of indulgence, too much of indulgence. At the same time, even if he had given this boon could be done in different ways. And he actually had the right to deny something because it was at the cost of Ayodhya. So he could not deny because he was fascinated by, not at that time he was fascinated with Kaikeyi. But the thing is that you already have too much of attachment and the knots are too intense to break. So you cannot reason properly. वो अटैचमेंट की वजह से ऑलरेडी मन उसमें वो डिसीजन वैसे ही लेगा, भले तकलीफ हो रही है, भले गलत डिसीजन हो रहा है. Therefore, at the angle of last time, it is being taken by everyone, including now. King Kshatriya can hunt, there is no harm, there is no issue. If they don't hunt, how will you fight? If you don't see blood, if you don't kill, you will never be able to protect. Yeah, so hunting was there. Even Ram Lakshman, when they crossed the Ganga, Guha से मिलने के बाद से वो गए होता, तो मैंने थोड़ा hunting किया. क्योंकि 14 साल में जंगल में रहना, तो लिखा हुआ है 2 wild boars और एक बेर ऐसा करके 6 प्राणियों को मारा. Hunting was anyway but hunting is allowed for a Kshatriya. It's an exercise. If you don't do that, you cannot fight. How can you fight? ऐसा ना खून देख के हो जाओगे, अरे खून निकला, युद्ध में तो खून निकल रहेगा. Ramayan, there are so many personalities. So the personality of Dr. Maharaj, what we can learn from him? What we can Ram speaks this to Lakshman in the first lecture we heard this time. Ram tells to Lakshman that when Lakshman is saying that he is a person intoxicated by the beauty of Kaikeyi and he is a lusty person. So Ram tells no. He may have had Kaikeyi as his favorite wife, but the fact, if he was not dharmic, he would have never taken such a decision. Because he is suffering right now. He took a decision which is against his own interest. He took up such a, he knows that he may die. And his favorite son. But just because एक वचन दिया था, so he had this ability to adhere to dharma, to stand on dharma. So from Dashrath we can learn that. That is what Ram tells Lakshman. He thinks that he is a very righteous man. He is just not simply our father or normal. He has taken so much anxiety just for this. Although the decision is not going to be good. But it's not that he is enjoying. It's not like Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi also vanished and Dashrath also vanished. But Kaikeyi was enjoying. Because her heart was filled with energy. It is explained when Dashrath died, there was no change, no tear drop from the eye of Kaikeyi. He simply looked at the body of Dashrath. Totally happy. And we took over. So Ram is analyzing that only, that Dashrath is suffering. That's why again in today's class we discuss Dashrath is suffering. Therefore he tells Lakshman you go back. The Kaikeyi's heart is filled with envy, and once the envy comes, all reasoning is going to finish. Envy आ गया तो अपने घर का आगे से दुश्मन बन जाए. It's the worst kind of an emotion which connects it. Because anger and hatred are still not as harmful. Envy is extremely destructive emotion. Anger and hatred से गुस्सा मैंने बोल दिया, गुस्सा निकल भी गया. किसी को मार दिया तो लेकिन एनवी ऐसा नहीं होता है, एनवी तो षड्यंत्र रखता है, कंस्ट्रक्टिवली डिस्ट्रॉय करता है। I mentioned all the three. First was he analyzed how the mind and attachment of Dashrath, that he blames Dashrath directly on. First is he is analyzing on a philosophical level. कैसे सेल्फ ग्रेटिफिकेशन के प्रभाव में आदमी अपने बच्चे को भी त्याग करता है. Then he starts blaming Dashrath himself. That he caused so much pain to my mother, to all of us. And the third is he analyzes himself, that how am I as a son. मेरे जैसा पुत्र किसी को मिलना नहीं चाहिए कि मैं माँ को ये नहीं कर पा रहा. So he analyzes that whole situation. Prabhu asked a very beautiful comment that we have never heard Ram. ये एक मर्यादा का उल्लंघन दिखता है कि राम अपने पिताजी के बारे में ऐसे कैसे बोला. ऐसा नहीं है, ये उनका एक फेस था. Because I think in the first lecture we are discussing that there is something called an organization, a channel, and an ideology. If you remember. The channel is a kingdom, and ideology is the ideology of Raghukul race. So he is more concerned that from a political angle, क्या क्या आदमी कर सकते. Right now he is not thinking as a son and a father. He is thinking as a king. As a king he took wrong decisions. So as a king, how wrong did he go? So he left the kingdom as a son. Not out of duty towards the kingdom, it was duty towards the father because he did not own the kingdom. But he is analyzing as a king, he made a very big blunder. So, in a way it's not, because yet at the same time he does not, as day before yesterday, going towards discussing this point, he did not elaborate it strongly. He discussed about a father may commit a mistake, but fatherhood is not that. If my father is not right or my mother is not right, I will condemn कि हर माँ और हर बाप सब बकवास होते हैं, माँ भी बकवास होते हैं. वेस्टर्न कंट्री में यही हो गया. कुछ माँ बाप सही नहीं है तो माँ बाप को ही सपने में उड़ा दिया. So it's like that. He condemned that act of him as a father he did some mistake. Him as a husband he did mistake, him as a king he did mistake, but he did not condemn that fatherhood because of which he was so dutiful. जो भी है मेरे पिताजी ने उन्होंने बोला है और उन्होंने भी इसमें उनको तकलीफ हो रही है, गलत डिसीजन हो गया, लेकिन वो he is not the beneficiary of this decision. That was only him, he was not like Kaikeyi. So therefore he still, although he criticizes in a way, he still has that sense of duty, Maryada Kirti. So the attempt to rewrite the commentaries, that attempt cannot be done just by printing this book. That's sometimes. It has to be on a very scholarly analysis. So वैसे टाइप के scholars इंडिया में बहुत कम हैं. Unfortunately, we also are not trained in that level of analysis, because that's the amount of studies also required. You can analyze only when you study. आप 10 एंगल से करोगे तभी आप एनालिसिस कर पाओगे. तो चलो वाल्मीकि ने ये कहा, तुलसीदास जी ने ये कहा, कंबर ने ये कहा, दूसरे की वैसा आते रहे ये बोल रहे 40-50 कमेंट किए रामायण के फिर उसका वो लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं, फिर वो लोग क्यों ऐसा बोल रहे हैं, वो सब जानने के बाद फिर आप एक प्रस्तुत करोगे कि भाई दिस मैन इज इन दिस और अ पर्सन हु हैज हैड अब्यूज चाइल्डहुड। इंडिया में एक आदमी है जिसकी माँ ने पहले एक उसकी माँ क्रिश्चियन है, पहले हिंदू से शादी किया, फिर वो संबंध हो गए और उसने फिर बाद में मुस्लिम से शादी किया, वो संबंध हो गए, फिर वो ड्रग्स और उसमें शराब में चली गई और लड़का फिर अनाथ होकर कहीं से निकला, मतलब अनाथ आश्रम में पला पड़ा, आउट ऑफ क्वेश्चन नॉट अनाथ आश्रम विथ हिज ग्रैंडमदर। नाउ ही हैज रिटन 6 बुक्स ऑन रामायण ऑल डिस्टॉर्टेड। जिसकी माँ और बाप का इतना भयंकर बैकग्राउंड रहा है, उसका चाइल्डहुड इतना डिस्टर्ब है, उसने उसी चश्मे को पहन करके रामायण के ऊपर 6 किताब लिखी, एक और जबरदस्त पैसा बना। तो भी अगर आपको कुछ और लिखना है तो आपको उतना स्टडी करना चाहिए, हम किसी को भी So that's what I'm saying. We need to have our own. Otherwise, somebody else will do the research for us. If you want to say something, you have to have a presentation. मेरे laboratory का report ये है, तो लेकिन तुम्हारी laboratory तो होनी चाहिए, laboratory नहीं है. These people are covered mantras. So much English about the Vedic literature. अच्छी चीज को डिस्ट्रॉय करने के लिए एक चीज चाहिए, पूरे रामायण में एक मंत्रा ही चाहिए। आप सोचा है बाकी क्या है, एक मंत्रा है और एक टेस्टी है, बस एक दुर्योधन है और एक शकुनी है ना। 100,000 धार्मिक लोग फंस गए सिर्फ 2 के वजह। एक फालतू लिटरेचर आता है और उसकी वजह से करोड़ों लोग पढ़ते हैं और फिर वैसे फंस जाते हैं। Attempt is going on there, people are writing something. At least we should do something for our own. Parents are so busy these days and they want to, as I say, they want to outsource their fatherhood to organizations. जैसे हम एक बार गीता कोर्स ले रहे थे तो उसके बाद जो व्यक्ति आए थे इतना अच्छा लगा और उन्होंने 2-4 सजेशन भी दिया, you should do something for children also. तो मैंने उनको बोल दिया तुम्हारे लिए भी हम करे और तुम्हारे बच्चों के लिए हम करे, तो तुम क्या करोगे? गीता गोज फॉर यू एंड समथिंग फॉर योर चिल्ड्रन, सो व्हाट आर यू गोइंग टू डू? If you are outsourcing your fatherhood, he will also outsource his duty. किसी और को बोल देगा कि भाई संभालो, बूढ़ा हो गया बेचारा, वो भी आउटसोर्स कर आउटसोर्सिंग का कल्चर है, तो ये कभी नहीं चलेगा। How can you teach your son रामायण about कैसे साथ में दशरथ भाई ये सब साथ में रहना है? साथ में रहोगे तभी आप सिखा पाओगे ना, आप स्टोरी सिखा पाओगे, लेकिन किसी को टाइम ही नहीं। तो बोले क्या बेटा स्टार प्लस में दूसरे रामायण दिख रहा है कि नहीं, मैं तेरा भाव में ये तो भी महा दिख रहा है कि नहीं, ऐसा कोई करेगा, ऐसा चलेगा? वो तो प्रेम देके ही सिखाना पड़ेगा, अपने मुंह से बोलना पड़ेगा। किसी और से सुनवाया तो उसकी लॉयल्टी उसके पास स्टॉप हो जाएगी, ये समझ। फिर वो बोल देगा कि फिर भी डायरेक्टर था, अरे ये चोपड़ा साहब ने तो ये बोला ही नहीं था, आप कौन सा बोल रहे हैं? तो दो देखते हैं, नॉट जस्ट इन चाइल्डहुड, बच्चे को सुलाने के लिए नहीं, लेकिन जब जागा हुआ है तभी भी स्टोरी सुनाना पड़ेगा, उसे वक्त तो सुनाते ही है। बहुत Lord Ram used to how? Protect. अभी जो इंडस्ट्री जो शास्त्र में होती है वो भी ऐसा नहीं, भगवान ने एक शरण दिया लेकिन उसका भी एक टाइम पीरियड है। जैसे प्रहलाद महाराज के साथ भी कई साल चला, हिरण्यकशिपु का ऐसा नहीं कि 5-10 साल चल रहा था। फॉर मेनी डिकेड्स ही टॉर्मेंटेड पीपल, तो वैसा है। तो हमारा भी ऐसे ही, ऐसा कभी होता नहीं कि सही समय, ऐसा नहीं कि सचिव है तो सचिव में प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है। सचिव में सचिव के क्लास का प्रॉब्लम है, वही क्लासिफिकेशन में डिमांड है। If you read scriptures, there is not a single time where there was, the common people in Kali Yuga are not of the caliber of Satyuga common people. But demons or Devata, good and bad people were there in each time. And there was always a fight going on. There is always a struggle going on. There is always tapasya. वो 10-11 साल तपस्या करते थे, देवता से आशीर्वाद करते थे, फिर राक्षस से लड़ते। और आज वही चीज पॉलिटिकल रूप में चलेगा, कोई गुंडे से मिले, दादागिरी किया या वो गवर्नमेंट लाया, इस तरह जो भी तरीके से करा। बट अपना अपना स्ट्रगल हर युग में है, ऐसा कोई युग इन वे सचिव और कलयुग में सुख दुख का फर्क नहीं, चैलेंजेस और अपॉर्चुनिटीज का फर्क नहीं है, वो तो ऐसे ही है। फर्क केवल अब इंडिविजुअल कॉन्शियसनेस लेवल का। तो there will be a phase where some negative patch is coming. Now a positive patch will come at some point, and then again that will become negative. सत्य की हमेशा विजय होती है। वो कहता है कि सत्य की विजय एक सोशल लेवल की बात नहीं है, क्योंकि सोशल लेवल पे सत्य की पराजय होती है कभी तो, और फिर सत्य की विजय होती है। जैसे कि मान लो कि दुर्योधन ने जिंदगी में टॉर्चर किया और बाद में पांडव जब आए तो पांडव वेर इन पावर फॉर हाउ मेनी ईयर्स? 36 years. So more than 100 years Duryodhan and all these people are doing it. Pandava was there for 36 years, and Parikshit Maharaj after Pandava left, he ruled for 60 years. When he departed. So 60 or 36 कितना हो गया? Only 96 years. फिर कलयुग शुरू हो गया वापस। मतलब डीमन का पराजय हो गया, सत्य की विजय हो गई, लेकिन सत्य भी चला गया और वापिस कलयुग आ गया, फिर वापिस कुछ न कुछ। तो मतलब ये साइकिल हमेशा चलता रहेगा। तो सत्य ओनली ट्रायम्फ, हाउ कैन यू से दैट? द ट्रूथ ओनली विल प्रिवेल, फाइनली अल्टीमेटली सत्य जीतता है, कैसे बोल सकते? वो इंडिविजुअल लेवल तक कि जब व्यक्ति सत्यवादी मीन्स नॉट जस्ट स्पीकिंग बट फॉलोइंग द ट्रू एस्पेक्ट ऑफ धर्म, he will feel satisfied and feel happy and content in his life. So a person cannot be crooked or evil always, it is not possible. एक दिन तो वो छोड़ेगा। जैसे दुर्योधन इतना शेमलेस था, मरते वक्त उसने क्या कहा पता है? कम से कम मैंने इतना तो आनंद उठाया जिंदगी का, तुम तो जंगल में थे, आज ठीक है तो भी क्या मिला तुमको? मैंने फिर भी कितना भोग किया। चलो आज तो मैं मर गया, लेकिन तुम्हारे जीवन में रहा ही क्या हुआ? बट स्टिल देयर वाज अ सेंस ऑफ still hatred or then he has to go through that stage where he becomes normal and peaceful and happy. So truth always wins is from an individual perspective. From a social perspective it's a cycle, eternal cycle. हिरण्यकशिपु है, नरसिंह है, राम है, रावण है, रावण का भी क्या हाहाकार, कंस है, कृष्ण है। तो वैसे कलयुग में जगह में रहे जैसे लोग हैं तो महाप्रभु जैसे लोग हैं। Lord Ram is in a different way. So much how if this is going to be always free, then how to do to see the situation and how he makes all the turbulence. Just keep doing it. All the acharyas, all the pastimes are just on that day. Always there was conflict, and in conflicting situation they have tried to meditate. Peaceful meditation मुनियों का था, वो भी कुछ समय तक. ऐसा एक भी मुनि नहीं है. रामायण मेंशन करता है कि वशिष्ठ को भी 2-3 बार सुसाइड करना है. मुनि जिसका कुछ नहीं, तो उनको भी ऐसे 2-3 बार लगा सुसाइड करना, क्योंकि कोई ना कोई परेशान करता, उनको दूसरा कोई मुनि परेशान करता. तो ऐसा मुनि को भी पहाड़ में रहता है तो थोड़ा समय, फिर कोई देवता परेशान करेगा या कोई तो परेशान तो करेगा ही करेगा. तो भौतिक जगत में ठीक है, हमारे सुबह से शाम परेशान रहते हैं 10-20 साल में एक बार, लेकिन वो जो कोटा जब आता है वो 20 साल में एक बार आता है, लेकिन उसका सब कुछ शांति करा जाता है. विश्वामित्र मुनि को जो परेशानी हुई 10-10 साल की तपस्या खत्म हो जाती थी एक चीज से. So in all these only we keep meditating, we keep striving. Devotee's struggle to establish dharma is not with the pressure that he has to be victorious. When we do dharma is not to achieve victory. It is to, if you don't do that, you are not able to save yourself. आपको अपने आप को बचाने के लिए करना पड़ेगा. लड़ो इसके लिए कि मैं जीत जाऊंगा, मैं लड़ इसलिए रहा हूं ताकि मैं उसके जैसा नहीं बन जाऊं, मैं तामसिक नहीं बन जाऊंगा. शेयरिंग के साथ और सारे स्ट्रेटेजी के साथ ये उम्मीद के साथ लड़ो कि हम जीतेंगे, मतलब दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. तो विल बी विक्टोरियस ऐसे करके लड़ना है. लेकिन इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट इन द हार्ट दैट आई मस्ट बी विक्टोरियस. ये हो गए कलयुग के जो पहले जो राक्षस थे समुद्र मंथन में, देवता थे और दानव थे. तभी तो जो सेम वो उस समय के वो राक्षस जो थे वो भी गाय को मारते थे. आज वो राक्षसों को मुसलमान कहा जाता है. क्या नाम बदल गया डिमांड. वो हमेशा चलता ही रहेगा. तो उस समय भी चलता था, वो भी गायों को मारते थे. तो देवता नहीं करते थे. देव थ्रो, डोंट यू हियर दिस पास्ट टाइम दैट देव थ्रो काउ फ्लैश इन द यज्ञ, देव थ्रो काउ मीट एंड ब्लड, ये करते थे. अगर इसकी कौन ही बन गई है पूरी रिलीजन में. It goes on. It will always go on. Therefore, Krishna tells to Arjuna, you fight with the aim to win. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि मैं ऐसी लड़ने के लिए, ऐसा अच्छी तैयारी करो और वो जोश और जुनून से लड़ो. लेकिन हारने या जीतने का भय नहीं होना चाहिए या उसकी अपेक्षा नहीं होनी चाहिए. Not with that sense of obligation that for me you just do that. Because I have already decided who is going to be victorious. भगवान की इच्छा है कलयुग को प्रोग्रेस करने के लिए. अगर अधर्म आगे बढ़ाना है तो धर्म का थोड़ा बहुत तो नाश होगा. अदरवाइज हु कैन डिस्ट्रॉय द लैंड ऑफ इंडिया? इट्स इम्पॉसिबल. हु कैन डिस्ट्रॉय नालंदा काइंड ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटी, वर्ल्ड ओल्डेस्ट एंड सच अ प्रोग्रेसिव लैंड? लेकिन अगर ये डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं होगा तो कलयुग प्रोग्रेस ही नहीं होगा. तो अगर हम ऐसे सोचे अरे भगवान का प्लान है डिस्ट्रक्शन का, तो हम जाने में मैं क्यों करूँगा, मैं इससे जब करता हूँ अपना अच्छा करूँगा. ऐसा नहीं. भगवान ये बोल रहे हैं मेरा प्लान है, ये तुम्हारा कर्म नहीं है. You don't risk your activities based on my plan. Your duty is what you do. If you are a Brahmana, you do your duty as Brahmana. If you are a Kshatriya, if you are a Gahastha, Brahmacharya, whatever, you do your duty which is ordained because of your acquired nature. मेरा जो काम है वो मैं करूँगा. आप उसमें इंटरफेयर. And therefore even when great scientific people know that this thing would not work, then they proceed in that direction as a contribution and effort for protection of them.